Good morning. There's a general principle I've learned through lots of experience that I want to share with you because it's such an impactful thing when it comes to so many areas of life. It comes to relationships, it comes into real estate, it comes into coaches and mentors and people in our lives. Specifically, I'm going to talk about real estate, but again, this applies to so many areas that I would be remiss if I don't include them. And here's the principle: the things that look the best are usually the worst. Not usually the worst. Usually they underperform. So I'll give you some examples. People who market and the marketing is beautiful and everything is perfect and they come across as the best deals, typically those aren't the best deals. Typically they're actually substandard deals. The people in my life, and I've got to be careful with this, the people in my life who are the best marketers tend to not be the best coaches, tend to not be the best mentors, tend to not have the best deals. In fact, I'm reading a book right now written by somebody worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and they said a general principle is never buy something that is mass marketed. Don't buy something when it comes to investments that are flashy, that are sexy. Why? Because if it's advertised to the masses, usually it's not the best deal. The best deals are taken before it reaches the masses. That's how it works. And it's the same with coaching. Coaches that are phenomenal don't typically need a lot of flashy marketing to do a really good job because word of mouth spreads really well. They make money in other ways. It's not to say that marketing is evil. I'm not saying that right now. But typically the sexiest real estate is not the best deal. The A grade real estate is usually extremely expensive. REITs buy them because they're flashy and they can go up on a wall and they look great, but usually they're not the best investment. They don't have the best underlying numbers. I'll give you another example. Everyone wants to buy in Ontario right now. I hear this all the time. Ontario, 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 buy in Ontario. And yet Ontario, unless you get a really, really good deal, and they're out there, they don't pay very much. The yield is next to nothing. They're underperforming investments by and large. This applies to relationships. Often the people who put on the best show typically aren't the best in relationship. They're not. I tend to go with people, whether it's mentors, whether it's real estate, relationships, friends, whoever it is, people who kind of fly under the radar, who offer an extreme amount of value as I get to know them, but aren't all that flashy, tend to be the best in my life. Best relationships, best mentors, best coaches, and typically the best real estate investments. It's usually the thing that other people have missed, has gone under the radar a little bit. And if I dig a little bit more, it can work out really well. In fact, I've got two really good friends, and they both talk about really ugly deals that they've had. Ken, the greatest mentor I've ever had so far, the most influential in my life, has talked about, if you know him at all, his butt ugly building. This is a building that was disgusting. It didn't look good. Nobody wanted it, and it ended up being one of the best money makers, one of the best wealth builders that he's done. Same with a friend named Gary. He took a building that nobody wanted. It was just disgusting, and he's made it into something that is really profitable for him. And he's actually closing on some things fairly soon. Not closing, renegotiate or refinancing the project and pulling out a lot of money. They made so much money on these deals that in financing, when they did the final financing for this deal, after they optimized the building, they made money. The bank paid them to buy the property, basically. That's how it worked. They put more than $100,000 in their pockets. It's amazing. That's a brilliant deal. But these were butt ugly buildings. They weren't the sexy buildings. And here's what I want to encourage you with. As you look at expanding your portfolio, be very, very careful. Often people get excited and emotionally engaged in a building and think, wow, that looks so good. Or, oh, wow, I could put this on the wall, or I could show this off. Those aren't the buildings that are usually going to be the best. It doesn't mean they can't be good, but typically they're not. When you choose a coach or mentor, you can go with the person that's the flashiest. And you know what? Sometimes there is a lot of value there, but generally speaking, there isn't. The flashiest coaches and mentors that you see around you typically aren't the ones who are doing the best work. In relationships, the friends that you build, the friendships that you build, go for the people who are sound. Go for the people who are steady, who are fundamentally strong. those people are going to come through when there are problems. And I can think of the two best friends I have on this planet, and they're both those kinds of people. They don't come across very flashy. Most people, when they're introduced to them, don't go, wow, this person is just through the roof amazing, I've got to get to know them. They're not the flashiest person. They're not the sexiest. But you need them in a pinch, and they're there. And they will help me when I need it. And even if when chips are down, they're doing what they need to support me and be a friend to me. And I work hard to be that kind of friend to them as well. I want you to think about this as a general principle. Here's the action step, because I always like to leave you with an action step. I want you to ask yourself, go through a few ads that you see on TV, listen to the radio, on the internet. I mean, the internet, you see ads all over the place. Look at a few ads and go, what attracts me about this? What draws me towards this? Or even better yet, think about the last 2 or 3 purchases that you've made for a program or a system or a real estate deal, whatever that is, and ask yourself, what was attractive about this investment? What was attractive about this program for me? And then compare it to the best program that you ever took, or the best investment you ever made, or the best relationship you have. And ask yourself, what's the difference? How did the person that I really like spending time with, or how did the investment that was a great investment, how did it typically come across my plate? What attracted me to that, or did I find it accidentally? I bet you are going to be very surprised at what you find as you do this activity. In my life, as I do this, consistently, the people, the projects, the programs, the investments, whatever it is, typically are not the sexiest, but they often are fundamentally strong. Let me know what you think about this. I want to hear your experience. I know that there are outliers to this, and that there are the people that come across extremely well and are also really foundationally strong. But this is a general rule of thumb. I'd like to hear what you think. Feel free to email me back. I'll put the link under the YouTube video if you need to. Thanks. Enjoy your day. See ya.